Chief Justice Corona, President Town, Pastor Greco Belka, and joining us, Archbishop Williams, Bishop Rich Belka, Father Samagaya, and Sunday, Bishop Villena, and Archbishop Kapalia. First, we would like to thank you for honoring our invitation to bring you back to the Assembly of the National Transformation Council. We don't have a prepared statement. There are obviously some issues that you'd like to clarify. We'll be happy to respond to the rest of our there are two questions. Any others?
Senator Farad, Angel Malachan from GNA7. We will need to understand that you will be making an important announcement.
What is the announcement?
Who announced?
I think
That would be released before.
Yan, ayaw na daw po niya i-frame.
lahat po sa assignment namin na nakalagay, NTC will be making an important announcement.
Even sir sa Facebook.
You may want to. There's a draft statement that is expected to be released.
Well, our demand for the stepping down of the president in its government, I think, is already been announced several times. I guess that what is being waited is a more dramatic chain of action that will be what we try to do is to try to define who among our people will be leading this effort, and we to follow the teachings of the church is to really ask our people to be the one. And but what is new there is that we think that to give a new shape to people power. That people power cannot be as spontaneous as before. What we need is for people to have their own organizations. Otherwise, when this is over, they will be nasa anong poor as has happened in the past efforts to change the direction of our society. So what will really happen these days? I know that what you want to see is really already a push to really seriously try to change the government today. I know that. But I think that today what we are trying to do is to really put some clarification on this matter. That first, there is this assumption that the leaders of our churches will be necessary to bring them about. That the bishops, the CBCP, in fact, there are certain questions that have been raised in Cebu wherein they're saying that Cardinal Vidal did not understand what he was reading. That's what the local media in Cebu was saying. That is not true. Cardinal Vidal reviewed the statement days before he read it. But what we are trying to say is that what we are trying to ask from our religious leaders is not to lead this revolution. It's not to be in the forefront of this fight. But what we need is a very clear statement that regime change is morally correct at this time. what we were asking from them is moral basis for the actions that we will take. We are also not planning a coup. The armed forces should not lead the fight to change government. What we are trying to clarify today is that the armed forces, if they see that there is that the people are truly asking for regime change, then they must protect and support them. So we have not approached the armed forces to come out in the streets and declare that they are supporting the National Transformation Council. I think there's time for that. But in the meantime, what is important is for us to make sure and to secure that when we ask our poor to join us in our fight, when it comes to rewards, they will not be forgotten. Oftentimes, in the past, lahat ng rally na nakikita natin sa mga kalsada, diba, ang ginagamit for. Pero wala namang konkretong mekanismo para pag natapos yung bakbakan, hindi sila makakalimutan. We had the past two revolutions in our country where invested interests have taken over after the fight. Where are the poor people? How are they represented? So what we are trying to do today is to, first, we listen to our religious leaders. Is it morally correct? As far as we know, you see, I have known Cardinal Vidal for many years. We respect his wisdom and his understanding of the teachings of the Catholic faith. We know Archbishop Capalla, Archbishop Arguelles, the archbishops that we intentionally approach are people whom we think knows the teaching of our faith. And we ask them whether there is moral basis for what the people is about to undertake today. They said yes. There is the statement. It has been repeated in several occasions in many parts of the country. Now we know that we have moral basis, which is very important to us. We also try to establish two things. That in our fight for political change, we must not forget that we are a praying people. That we need spiritual guidance in our activities. Number two, our action should remain peaceful. That is why we do not approve of coup d'etats. We do not approve of armed struggle. What we want is for our people to unite and express their intention for change in our country. And we will do this through the organized masses of our people. You see, many of you probably are either not been born yet or too young to see. But you see, right after people power, President Cory Aquino encouraged the formation of mass movements in the country. Ang nakikita natin ngayon are non-government organizations, but we are not realizing that there were establishment of people's organizations of various important sectors of Philippine society. What we try to announce today is that we will revive all those movements. In the absence of effective structures of organization among our masses, there will be no effective representation of the poor in government. That is why what you will expect from us, I don't know whether in the process of what we are doing, maybe there will be changes in Malacanang. We don't know. They will already give up. But what we are going to do is this. In every region, we will assemble the leaders of the various sectors of our people. Then we will have a national congress so that we will choose one national leader each, or at least what we consider as the poorest sector of our society. One from labor, one from the peasants, one from the urban poor, and one from the fisher folk. I know that there are other sectors, but to us, these are the ones occupying the poorest among our societies. After the Congress, we will have 4 new members of the National Transformation Council. They will be part of our council. You might think that this is a long process, but I think it can be done in a matter of months. Now, the fight against the the administration, how, because the question has always been how to bring down government. How do we enforce this appeal that the president should step down and in fact his government? I cannot tell you the exact schedule for this. Depends on how the people will respond.
Secretary, kung tama po yung interpretation ko, pinanggit ko na two resolutions have failed to include the poor, which is na lagi na mga sa harapan ng protesta. If I understand clear, I can see two gentlemen on the table who served under an administration that was catapulted by a revolution, the Arroyo administration. Does it mean that your works parang
Basta
Yan ako, very one eh.
Gudang
Ako,
pabo.
from my point of view, no? Kasi ang aking trabaho ay national security
Saan?
advisor. Pag natindihan. I see what you mean. Ako, I wish I can, I don't know how many times I can say so to the basic sectors. Because if there's anybody who has been very close to them, who have really organized them since the time of President Cory Aquino, that would be me. And I really have to say sorry, because during the time that I was in office, I really failed. I really failed to represent them, to serve their needs. Naging kwan eh. Ang nangyari nung panahon namin ng GMA, hindi naman namin ugali yung inisip. Pero alam mo, mula nung po si President Jamie, hindi na tinigilan ng hayat 10 yan, nabubumili. So talagang ang buhay namin na is talagang defensive. Tinitingnan ko nga ngayon, gano'ng kadaming issue pa talaga ang ni-raise para kay Jamie, etc. Napapayaan talaga tuloy namin yung trabaho sana na inayos yung pagpasok ng mga poorer sector ng ating lipunan. Yun ang isang malaking leksyon na nakita ko. Kung hindi mo isasama sa kapangyarihan o sa loob ng gobyerno ang mga representatives ng ating core communities, wala talagang mangyayari. Pero hindi yung ipili ka lang ng isang urban poor, kailangan they're backed up by organizations. Katulad ang pinaka-classic na example na epektibo ng araw ay yung trade unionism. The labor movement are organized and they're able to appoint representations in government. And because they are organized, they're able to influence policies of government through their representatives inside government. Ngayon, sira na ang labor movement. Mahina ang labor movement natin ngayon because halos wala nang sumasama sa trade unionism because of the kind of workers that we have. Yung sinabi ni Boy Arantles kanina, lahat halos ng manggagawa natin walang security of tenure. Kasi pagka 6 months kasi bago ka maging permanente sa trabaho mo eh, dinidismiss ka on the 5th month. So hindi ka permanente, so hindi ka pwede pumasok sa unyan. This has been happening in our country today. So itong nangyayari, ako, I'm really sorry that I failed during my time. Retired ako ngayon, I will share with them the lessons of mistakes that has happened during my time. Hindi ko talaga kaya nga nahihiya sana akong imbitahin ng mga mahirap na muli na naman sumali dito sa nangyayari ngayon. I'm really one of those who's truly ashamed to approach them again. The only thing that makes me happy personally ay mukhang pinagtitiwalaan ako despite all the disappointment that have happened on almost a decade of my service in government. So, naniniwala pa rin sila. Ang gusto nilang mangyari yan, dahil sa karanasan, ay tulungan para maibalik yung pagkakataon na for once, or maybe, hopefully, masama na sila sa pagkakatakbo ng
without wanting to be bullied, nakikita ko po kasi sa social media tweets or comments na the NTC pinutulungan ng mga dating nasa administrasyon seeing former Justice Corona, for Secretary Sanz, and former Senator Taban, who once ran for the ano po, can we get their thoughts on that?
Well, kasi ganito yan. Ang hangarin ng NTC ay, yun ang tingin kasi natin, may